My mom always told me that if I'm pointing a finger, there are three pointing back at me. Sorry, Mom. We're pointing fingers today. We're playing the blame game next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Various levels of belief there, don't you? With Corey Steger still believing, Marcus Semien doubting a little bit, and Bochy going, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm 70 years old. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. John Radigan here with Jeff Wilson. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Ryan over here, and we're glad to have Ryan back today. We know we'll have you in here, especially when we get to this first segment. We saw so much. I was inspired by our chatters yesterday because we saw so much of the, fire Bochy, fire CY, get rid of all of them, send Robert Garcia, packing, DFA him, that. So the blame, there's plenty of blame to go around is the point. And as someone said recently when they tweeted at us, they liked the fact that on the DLLS Rangers podcast, there's sort of this voice of reason. So when we talk about blame, let the voice of reason step in, and decide here. Okay, we'll help you. That's what we're here to do. Okay, so CY. Let's start with CY. There was a lot of CY needs to be gone yesterday. I couldn't disagree more. I'm pretty sure we haven't talked about this. I'm pretty sure
talked about this.
I'm pretty sure you couldn't disagree more. And so. Let's begin that discussion.
Okay.
You getting rid of CY?
I'm not. Now look, and I always used to say this about John Daniels, and it still applies to Chris Young. Chris Young has a boss.
Yep.
It's owner Ray Davis.
Yep.
And it all starts at the very, very top. He has a budget he has to work within, and the budget is set by Ray and Neil Liebman and the ownership group. And, in this day and age, you look at these teams that are, Milwaukee and Detroit are the exceptions, but you look at around the rest of baseball, teams with the biggest payrolls are the teams that are going to win the World Series or who are going to be in the playoffs. You have Toronto is spending money, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, the Phillies, the Dodgers, of course, but the Padres have a hell of a payroll.
Oh my God!
Okay,
yeah. The one that might also belie that a little is the Astros.
A little, but they're
still spending a lot of money. Yeah.
So anyway, if Chris Young had the unlimited funds that Andrew Friedman has with the Dodgers, the Rangers would be in better shape. Okay, however. He has a budget to work within, and within that, he has to make decisions on where the value is. And he apparently, in a long-standing Rangers tradition, believes that there's no value in closers. So, you gotta somebody has to wear that one. It's Chris Young. That there's just the bullpen's been great until the ninth inning. And that's something that Chris Young, I've said it before, the team that he won the World Series with, those Royals in 15, their bullpen was dominant. And they had a closer, Greg Holland.
Right.
And how someone who witnesses that can't see the investment that you need to make in that, I just can't get past it. So that one falls on Chris Young. Now, does he deserve to be fired? Probably not. If we're being honest, he inherited some of this from John Daniels, but he was on board for the signings of Seager and Simeon. And one's working out great and one isn't. They got a World Series out of the two of them. But you look at the lineup construction, and is that on the general manager or president of baseball operations? Well, yeah, he's the one who acquires the talent and gives it to the manager. Is it fireable? Not yet. Now, are there some other things that happen behind the scenes that he could be better at? For sure. But right now, I'm not firing him.
Right, and we talked to a panel of Rangers insiders, if you will, and I don't want to name names because they weren't. They didn't give us the permission to name names, but people who are around the team a lot, not with the organization, but around the team a lot, and media people. And they were saying of the 13 on the active roster right now, maybe six would be keepers in their mind, right? So if we're talking only six.
And that's the position players.
That's the 13 position players, And that, if we're talking only six are keepers, you're right. That part is all part of player acquisition. Again, if these people who are there every day see it, Bruce Bochy sees it too. He's never going to be that honest, right? Yeah. During the season, he's not going to say, "I'd only keep 6 of these guys," right?
Oh, keep them all.
He's going to say, "I believe in all of them," and he has to because he's trying to keep them motivated. But that said, he sees it too. Who is performing?
100%.
Who isn't performing?
100%.
We know for a fact right now that if Boch has his way, that Adolis Garcia and Jonah Heim probably will not be a part of this organization in the future.
Well, first of all, Bruce Bochy may not be part of this organization in the future.
Heck of a point.
Now, if he is to return, and I'm sure the Rangers want him to be back, and I'm sure there's a big part of him that wants to be back, I don't think he wants to come back to be mediocre.
Right.
And have these same frustrations. He's done a lot in this game. He's, a Hall of Famer for sure. And sooner he retires, the sooner he gets to go in. Doesn't seem like that motivates him. He really does enjoy it. But he's not, I was in Seattle after that that Friday loss when Garcia blew the game, and he was steaming hot after he met with us. And these losses are eating at him. You saw what he did Tuesday night, and what he said to the media. He didn't, call out anybody individually, but he hoped that what he said didn't fall on deaf ears. And I can assure you, having been in the clubhouse post game, that the media session is played over the speakers in the clubhouse. And so if guys are in there and they're paying attention to what they're hearing, they were gonna hear what was said. So anyway, if he is to come back, I'm sure that he has some pretty strong suggestions as to what would keep him around.
Right. And there's no answer to whoever asked it. Do we think that Boch will be back next year? It is totally up to him. That's the answer. Yeah. It's up to him. I mean, and I don't see a lot of fire Boch. I do see some of the real cynics on Twitter and so forth, saying the game has passed him by and saying, he's getting too old and all that. None of that's true.
Right.
None of that's true. I've never seen a manager work it harder to try and get a team that just won't connect offensively. Mm-hmm. Right? They just have not been able to. I'm not saying they're not trying to. They have not been able to connect offensively, a la the Milwaukee Brewers.
Right.
I'm not sure the Brewers have as much talent as what the Rangers do, but on May 25th, they had their second team meeting, and they said, we got to do things differently around here, and they have ever since. The Rangers have had those meetings, and they can't seem to figure out how to just connect as an offense.
Yeah, and there's always going to be talk about the leadership thing, and and Bruce Bochy prefers to let his players police themselves. He'll intervene when he needs to, and he probably has needed to and has done so at various times. But this isn't. And I always kind of, I don't laugh at him, but I do. The comments are like, oh, he needs to go in there and do this. There's no leadership on this and that. This isn't football. There's not there's not a week to week thing. You rah get fired up for the one game. This is 162 games, and if you're like that every game, you are going to burn yourself out, and it's going to burn the players out. There are recent managers in Rangers history who put too much emphasis on the day to day, and they're not there anymore. They ran out their popularity. In one case, waned sharply, and in the other case, I just think they're ready to move on to Bruce Bochy, as it turned out. But the day to day, you just can't kill yourself. Now, does there need to be a little more fire? It'd be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice if there was a player who for sure was the guy who would, somehow figure out a way to be the leader. And Marcus Semien, everybody talks about how he leads by example. He's respected. I don't know how often he's pulled them together.
No.
And said, had the come to Jesus meeting. They really need the big guy now.
Yes.
They need some help, and maybe it happened on the flight. Maybe it's gonna happen at some point here. But if they just think hits are gonna start falling for them, or that the relievers are gonna be perfect, then they're just not telling themselves the truth.
I wondered that yesterday, actually, when we were talking about what a long flight it was going to be to Toronto, right? It was just after that gut punch of a loss. It's a long flight anyway, but it was going to feel even longer. And it's not as long, and it won't feel as long as what happened in 23. But there is no doubt that nobody on that plane was satisfied with the way things ended up in 23 in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
They made the playoffs. They were happy about that, but they missed the opportunity to win the division because they lost. Was it 2 out of 3 or was it a 4-game series? Whatever it was.
3 out of 4. Yeah.
They lost 3 out of 4, but they won the one they needed to, and they got in, right? But nobody was happy. Everybody was disappointed. And they all talked about, Jeff and I have talked to many guys who were on that plane who were like, we just all came together. We talked about it. We had this whole, synergistic meeting, everybody, coaches, players, everybody, and we came together and we saw what happened during the playoffs.
Right.
So I wondered, does this team, it's, again, much of the same leadership, many of the same players, is this the time maybe that something like that could be happening?
Well, you're looking at your season's about to get away from you. I mean, it hasn't been great, but there's still a window here. There's still favorable head-to-head matchups against teams you're contending against in the wild card standings and for a playoff race. Astros 6 left, Guardians 6 left, the Royals 4 on this road trip.
Yeah,
that's big. You can take some semblance of control here if you're able to beat those teams. One comment that was made post game yesterday by Josh Young is it can't keep going. It can't all keep going against it.
Yeah.
He's like, we're hitting balls hard. They're just right at guys. I disagree. I don't think that they're hitting balls hard regularly right at people. I see a lot of soft contact.
Oh my gosh.
And maybe when they do hit the ball hard, it is at somebody. That happens to both teams.
Sure.
But it doesn't happen for 4.5 months. This hasn't been 4.5 months of
bad luck,
higher expected batting average. This has been 4.5 months of utility. I mean, Brian showed the graphic. 232 batting average is 28th in the major league.
Right.
This team. So if you're going to look at lineup construction, and Blake pointed out they didn't do a lot offensively, and their one big offensive acquisition in the offseason was Jock Peterson. How's that working out? Yeah. So again, that's all right. We're gonna go ahead and tag Chris Young for that one too. Still not firing to him.
No.
He has an offseason to redeem himself.
Yeah.
This offseason coming up, the opportunity for him to redeem himself. He's got to change it up.
Yeah, he does. And look, I think the very start of this, Jeff said, if we're talking about blame, that Chris Young has a boss. And I would still place, again, it's easy for me to spend somebody else's money, but I would still place more blame at the feet of ownership, who tied Chris Young's hands, certainly in the offseason, and then somewhat at the trade deadline, and then released it, too. That was the other thing. Like, he couldn't go after the biggest names in the closer market because we weren't going to go over the CBT, and then when all of a sudden Merrill Kelly and the other guys that they got are available, that's okay, let's go.
A little. They didn't go over
Not
by
much.
$20 million.
Yeah.
I'll say this about ownership, and I think I said it yesterday. The day that the Rangers signed the 4 big free agents in 2021, December 1st of 21, before the lockout hit, Ray Davis said to me, looked me right in the eyes and said, we're not ever losing 100 games. Okay? So this isn't going to be a rebuild. But he can't cut payroll. It's, with the money that's tied up in Seager, Simeon, Grom, and Evaldi, that's more than $100 million. All right, so that's half your payroll.
Yep.
He needs to keep the payroll at minimum at the same. Now, if they can move one of those players, I think they would consider moving one, maybe save a little. They could find somebody to take Jock Peterson off their hands while eating a lot of the money. There's a little more, but anyway, we're not blaming Chris Young yet.
Nope. There's plenty of blame to go around. Some of it certainly lands there. Some of it certainly lands with Ray Davis. And a lot of it right now lands with the players. So there you go. All right, more coming up. That was fun. Let's do the second segment, though, when we hit the road with the Rangers. It won't be easy. But as Jeff said, there's a head-to-head matchup on this road trip that is fortuitous timing. We'll talk about it all next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Well, let's talk Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is fun.
It
is. Rangers baseball right now is not fun. But, Prize Picks, the leader in daily picks. That's the biggest. I don't know. I think there's some studies that even show that Prize Picks is el numero uno. Preseason football is underway. College football is about to start. Baseball is winding down. And our Kevin Gray is like an expert on the WNBA. He's cleaning house on WNBA picks. You can bet on anything on these daily fantasy picks. I've hit a little rut on some baseball, but that's all right. I'm still ahead. It's simple to play. 2 or more. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you cash in. And Prize Picks put theirs number first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. It's just fun. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code DLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Yeah, and once you kill it on Prize Picks and make hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of dollars, just make sure you go to Monarch Money. Because Monarch Money is like your personal CFO. That's what they act like. They give you full visibility and full control so you can stop earning and start growing, right? There's a big difference between just earning and growing your wealth. That's what they're there for. It's more than a sort of average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial control center for all of your accounts, your investments, and your goals. Don't just manage your money. I want you to start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners at monarchmoney.com using the code DLLS. Okay, so who are we blaming now, John? Yeah, 3 pointing back at us, right? So is it our fault? No.
That's one thing we do know.
Yes.
Not our fault. And I did see somebody, I like this on Twitter. Somebody, I appreciate your empathy, but somebody put on Twitter on our feed last night, oh, these poor guys are gluttons for punishment.
Hey, we're just doing our job.
And that's exactly right. And look, I've been a part, as have you, of covering this team when they were losing 100 games. So that was a hell of a lot worse than 61-61. And so that's A. And then B is, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say we're gluttons for punishment. And then again, we cover baseball games for a living.
Right.
So it's always hard for me. I know I never get the sympathy vote when tough day at work today. Oh, I bet it was. Yeah, they ran out of popcorn in the press box. What? So anyway, thank you, though, for the empathy. I can't remember who that was. Toronto first. Rangers off today, but they're there. As we mentioned, they flew there last night. It's kind of been a change with this group where they always fly when they have an off day. Like back in the day, we would fly today and get up there, mid-afternoon to somewhere between the mid-afternoon and early evening, have dinner, get ready to play tomorrow. They do it right after the game, and then they have a full off day in Toronto, which isn't a bad place this time of year to have a full off day. And Jeff's not a fan of going there because of customs.
That's right.
That's a damn fine city.
It is. It's clean for a big city. Friendly people. Nice temperatures.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
It isn't cheap. No.
Toronto's a little expensive, but again, I don't like to go because of the damn airport.
Yeah.
And the airport's not great.
No.
But then the customs is a killer. So I have a few cities where the only way I will go there is opening day, trade deadline, or postseason. And Toronto is at the top of that list.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for that. And yet, I kind of grew up going there, living in Detroit. That was kind of the easiest big city, like a New York type. That was kind of the New York of Canada. So it was the easiest big city to get to. So we went a fair amount. But anyway, so I have a great fondness for Toronto. But so the Rangers are having a great off day. It would be a hell of a lot better if they'd held on to win that game yesterday. Yeah. But they're having a fine. Let's put it that way. They're having a fine off day. Could have been great. Then tomorrow hits, right? And again, we've mentioned this a couple of times before. The pitching matchup looks nice when it comes to your Texas Rangers because two of the three pitchers are two of our three best. Look at there. Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi. Patrick Corbin's done nothing but keep his team in the game every time he's gone out there. Look at that ERA from Eovaldi, 171.
Yeah.
And again, you mentioned it yesterday, Jeff Lauer at 282. I mean, he's even lower than deGrom. So Lauer's had a pretty good year.
He has, left-hander, so that's a problem. But yeah, he has had a good little year. I believe he's a former Brewers guy. So he's very serviceable. Barrios is still in a long contract there. He's kind of having a bounce back year. Bassett, just kind of an old, steady veteran.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of things well in Toronto. One thing they do real well is they don't strike out a lot. So that's something that deGrom, who I believe when he faced him earlier in this year, went like the first 4 innings without a strikeout against them. Maybe or he had like one, and then he finished really well. But it was a low strikeout game. But anyway, you got to feel good anytime you have those two going. And this is what we've been saying. If the Rangers can get to a short series in the postseason, and you can start deGrom and Eovaldi, kind of like their chances. Anyway,
I think they'd try to, just as a quick aside to that, would they not try to rearrange things rotation-wise to somehow make it, in some order, deGrom, Eovaldi, Kelly, or
I think when they get, maybe they're at that point now where desperate times call for desperate measures. They'll have some off days here where they can manipulate it somehow. But they are still trying to keep DeGrom,
Right.
from going too far.
Still managing him.
It's still,
Yeah.
it's still a thing.
Yeah.
So I think you can do it in a number of ways, but I think at some point they will try to line that up, especially if they think that they're going to have a real shot at the postseason. So anyway, yeah, there's Toronto for you. Now let's start blaming people again, John. That was fun.
No, that was fun. Now we go to Kansas City, and you think
we got to do Kansas City.
Kansas City, they were, they were right there. They were, they are right there, right behind the Rangers, knocking on the door, just a half game back. And you think, Kansas City's not that great. They swept the Rangers at Globe Life Field in June. And I'm looking at the box scores. Game 1, it was a lighter game, Jeff. The Rangers lost 6-1.
Okay.
Jack Leiter gave up 3 runs in the first inning. And
it's starting to come back to me.
Yeah, but this part surprised me. I thought that was maybe one of his really short ones.
Oh, that was the Seth Lugo start.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, he went 5 2/3, allowed 8 hits, but he allowed all 6 of the runs. So it was 3 in the first, a single run in the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
I see.
And out he goes. Rangers, of course, score 1. Seth Lugo kind of shut him down that day. And the next thing you know, the Rangers lose game 1. Okay, but you're fine. The next day, the Rangers, this was the exact kind of game that frustrated Bochy so much on Tuesday night. Rangers score 2 runs in the first inning. Okay, off their Bubic, whatever we call him. Yeah. 2 runs, right? That's great. Man, they got to this guy who's off at that point. He was having an unbelievable
he'd been
start.
The pitcher of the month in May.
Yeah. And so you're doing great. You got 2. Well, then they come back and they get 4 in the third.
Off
third. Patrick Corbin.
Damn.
Yep. And then they end up getting 2 in the 8th. The Rangers only add 1 more and lose it 6-3.
Okay.
So that one wasn't good. And then I forgot about this on Thursday was getaway day. Rangers went with a bullpen day.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Sean Armstrong was the opener. Now, and he gave up 2 in the first. Took the loss. And then, but that's the day that Jacob Latz took one for the team. He went 5 1/3.
Oh, yeah.
That day. And Jacob, let me see in the box score here. Latz only allowed 1 run. 3 hits, 1 run, went 5 2/3. But the Rangers lost it 4-1. So anyway.
So 1, 3, and 1 runs.
Yeah.
5 runs in 3 games. That's pretty. That's familiar. That's
super familiar.
Now the Royals pitching's a little different. Bubic is out for the year. Lugo has been pretty bad his last few times out. So Cole Reagan still isn't back. With the rotator cuff thing, so their starting rotation isn't great. They're doing it. They have Bobby Wood Jr., who's fantastic. Salvador Perez, who seems to do well always against the Rangers.
Yeah.
They're not great.
No,
they're not as good as they were last year. But they're
formidable. Yeah,
they're
well managed,
hanging around.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at the wild card standings, and you'll see, and you don't see them right there, but they're just the one that would be next on the list, the Royals. This is what the Rangers have to do. The good news here is they only have to jump 1 team, right?
Yeah.
When you say they're only 3.5 back, sometimes you say they're only 3.5 back, but they've got to get over 3 or 4 other teams to get to, in this case, the Yankees. As it is now, they've only got to jump the Guardians, and as Jeff said, 6 games left against the Guardians.
Yeah, again, that's got to be the hope. The hope has to be that in these final 40 games that you get 10 or more starts from combined. Oh, well, I guess you would get 16 starts, let's say, from Eovaldi and DeGrom. Okay, so
8 each.
8 each.
Yep.
Okay. And you need them to be great. And then, Merrill Kelly needs to be good too. So let's say out of those, let's say it's 24 starts, you at least got to win 2/3 of them.
Yeah.
Gotta win a good 16 or more.
Yep.
And then Leiter's been promising at times. Corbin's steady as a rock, gives you a chance to win. So that's the hope. And then those head-to-head games again. Royals, Astros, Guardians. Right there.
There it is.
It's 16 games against those three teams combined that got a chance.
I'm saying there's a chance. And in fact, coming up next.
But let me say this.
Yeah.
We're being realistic here.
We are.
And it's not
a great chance.
It doesn't look great.
No, not a great chance. Maybe I think Fangraphs or somebody put it out about a 25% chance right now of making
That's
the
higher
playoff.
than I would have thought. Yeah.
Yeah, about a 24 and 25. There it is. Where is it? Rangers are 24.2.
It's about 25, yeah.
Yeah, so the Guardians have just a slightly greater chance, and then, boom, you jump up to the Red Sox. So,
and that's the thing. The Rangers have to help themselves, but they need help.
Yes, they do.
They need help.
Great point.
Yeah.
So, there you go. That's the playoff odds for this year. And coming up next, we'll talk a little bit about teams just in the 20s, teams that have done this, that have accomplished what the Rangers are trying to. There are more teams out there that have done this than you thought. We'll talk about it next on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
And we're going to blame more people.
We're
going to blame more people, aren't we, John?
Oh, let's. Why not?
Okay, yeah. First off, though, you've heard us talk about this for a while now, and as it continues to get closer and closer, we're going to continue to talk about it. And that's the Cowboys cruise trip to Las Vegas.
Yes.
The DLS road trip, Las Vegas, from TrueFanTravel.com, November 15th through the 18th. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. There's no better time to go to Las Vegas than a football weekend. College games on Saturday, a full docket. NFL full docket on Sunday. And then the Monday to recover and get your bets in on the Cowboys. First trip to, what is it called? Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Airfare's included. Mandalay Bay is included. Got to bring your own bankroll for the gambling.
Sure.
But you get to hang, you get the tickets to the game. You get to hang with Clarence, Jeff, and Jesse, excuse me. Anyway, it's worth it. And if you're a diehard member, you get 20% off of that price. You don't have to live locally. If you're watching from somewhere else, let's say Cleveland, True Fan Travel is going to get you to Vegas.
And how much fun is it to hang out with Clarence and Jeff at all of them? They had to move their show time back today. Because they spent so much time. They had such a late night at the Rudder Room, which I'm not familiar with. Must be in Ventura. I can't, but maybe it's in Oxnard. I think it's in Ventura, though. They're out there right now still. And it was their last night. I think they're coming back after the show today. It was their last night in Central, almost, California. And so they had a lot of fun. So anyway, yeah, go on that Cowboys trip. Have fun with those guys. And we'll talk about it more, as Jeff said. Right now, we talk about teams in the 20s, the 2020s, not the 1920s, the 2020s, that have done what the Rangers are trying to do. And that is win when you are at or below 500 this late in the season. And you need look no further back than last year.
Last year,
the Tigers were 8 games under 500 on the 10th of August. So just 4 days ago, right? They were 8 games under. So the best they could have been today was 5 under. Okay. I didn't look at every day. They were 8 under on 8-10. They finished 31-13 from 8-10 on, and they finished 11 games over 500.
That's pretty good.
It's amazing.
That's really, it was a stunning turnaround.
And that's a team that, by the way, had sold at the deadline. They got rid of Jack Flaherty.
And Yosemite Sam and Carson Kelly.
Yosemite Sam. Yeah. Maybe Yosemite Sam was the problem.
Well, maybe. Where is he now? The Angels?
I think
he is with the Angels. They just swept the Dodgers for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yes, and they had Tarek Skubal, and that's about it.
Right. Also in the 20s, in 2021, the Braves. Yeah, who won the World Series, if you remember, with Ron Washington coaching third base.
Yeah.
They won the World Series in 2021. Do you know what their record was on the 7th of August, Jeff?
Nope.
56-56.
Wow.
Which is very similar to 61-61, right? I mean, it's just a slightly, right? So on August the 7th, they were 500, just like the Rangers are, and they caught fire. And then in the playoffs, they were great.
Yeah.
So, again, 2 instances in the 20s. We're only at 25. We're only halfway through. 2 instances already. And then that same year, the Cardinals were not quite as bad as that, but they were in 21. The Cardinals had an 8% chance of reaching the postseason as late as September 11th. They were 71-69 on September 11th with an 8% chance of making the playoffs. And they did something that was historic and a franchise record. They just hauled off and won 17 in a row.
Jeez.
I don't even remember that. 17-game win streak in September.
Well, we were counting the Rangers' losses at that
Yeah,
point.
we
They got
sure
up to
were.
102 that year.
17-game win streak was a franchise record, surpassing the 14-game streak set by the 1935 Cardinals.
A funny wash story about the 2021 team, which included Jock Peterson, a trade deadline edition.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We had him on our weekly show a couple years ago, and he was talking about how he was like, I kept telling those boys we're going to get ahead of them, and then we're going to run away, and all they're going to be seeing are our asses on our elbows. So asses and elbows. You want to get in front, and asses and elbows. That's all you want them to see.
That's
Pull
fantastic.
away.
Just start running away that way. Yeah. So hopefully the Rangers can show some asses and elbows as we head here. In order to do it, they do still have to be better. Again, it's hard to quibble with the numbers overall in the bullpen, but as we've said a number of times, they must be better at closing out games. And as of right now, we don't really even know who the closer is. It appears at the moment to be Phil Maton. But the Rangers have 23 blown saves, Jeff.
Yes.
That's second in the American League anyway, to only the Angels, who have 27.
Yeah, and I have this in my story that I posted right before the show. They have 29 bullpen losses, which is also second, and I believe it's to the White Sox.
Yeah, which is bad.
Yeah. Now, what does that tell you? It means, all right, they don't have a closer. Okay, that's the first conclusion you can draw. The second one is that these guys have been operating with no margin for error.
Right.
Absolutely no margin for error because of the offense has been so putrid. So they've had one run leads instead of 2 or 3 run leads. And even the 2-run lead yesterday wasn't enough, but that was just a flat blown save. I mean, and here's the thing: Phil Maton struck out the first 3 batters he faced in 9 pitches.
I know
it was immaculate.
It was an immaculate run. It just wasn't. It was over 2 innings.
Right?
Yeah.
It was stunning, and then it just completely went away. So, anywho, and then the other thing it might tell you is that these guys are worn out. Okay. The reason Luis Carvalho pitched the 7th inning yesterday in a high leverage situation is because the rest of the bullpen was tired because they had to work the first 2 games.
Yeah. And by the way, he went 1-2-3 in that 7th inning.
And then Hobie came in and did his usual scoreless inning and 2/3 of an inning, and then it sure looked like Maton was gonna close it out. Didn't happen, but so yes, but the bullpen's been good throughout the year, just
not at the end, not at the very end.
The other night, the game with Garcia Tuesday comes in. What has he got? A 1-run lead and 2 errors, his own error and then a Josh Young error. That was it. The Diamondbacks, the Rangers did well to only allow 1 run there,
right?
But it was the tie and run, and so those things stand out. and it's because the offense was diddling with itself and not scoring any runs, and so that's what led to the frustration and everything like that. But the bullpen, I think, is better than their blown saves and losses would indicate. But again, that could have been remedied with signing a closer in the offseason or acquiring one.
No doubt about that. But the reality is, the Rangers were, somewhat closerless. I mean, when you have 5 closers or 3 or whatever it was in 23, you have none, right?
Right.
The reason you have 3 or 5 closers is because you don't have one closer, and that's where they found themselves. And then once again in the playoffs, somehow Leclerc did the bulk of the saving in the playoffs, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Even though they'd gotten Aroldis Chapman, who, by the way, kind of rejuvenated
having a
this
great
year.
Yeah.
Having a great year. But anyway, he was there. I really thought when they got him, and it was slightly before the trade deadline. I think
it was a month before. It was June 29th.
Okay, June. Yeah, I was going to say I was thinking early July. But anyway, they got him. I thought, okay, this is the piece.
Right.
And he wasn't closing generally.
Yeah, they stuck with Will Smith and until they couldn't anymore, and then Chapman got a couple chances, and it didn't really work. And then they were like, all right, well, we can try Leclerc again, and that ended up getting some momentum and working so that in the postseason they could go with Leclerc, Spores, Chapman in some form or with Spores and Chapman ahead of Leclerc. But and then game 5 they just rode the hot hand because Spores was dealing.
Yep.
And they just kept it going and kept it going. And even if the Rangers hadn't scored in the 9th, I think they were going to send Spores back out.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get the handshake. You always get the handshake when you're done.
Yeah.
He didn't get the handshake.
Yeah. And by the way, Josh walked right past all of us who were gathered waiting for Boch yesterday. I miss that guy.
Yeah.
He's just such a fun-loving, he's even, despite he's obviously struggling to get back to what he is and what he knows he can, and still in a bright mood and a happy guy, lights up a room.
Yeah, he's a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
I would be in a good mood too.
A little bit like us, yeah.
I don't know that he's going to pitch this year.
I don't know.
But we'll see what happens here over the final 7 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you could blame him for getting hurt.
Okay.
For
there's
year.
some of the blame. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and blame Josh Spores.
We'll blame Josh Spores and his gimpy, was it elbow? No, it wasn't.
Shoulder, yeah. Let's blame him.
All right, good.
Put it all at his feet.
Right at
you,
the
Josh
feet
Spores.
of Josh Spores. We thought you were coming back in like July or August.
Yeah.
No, we're not blaming him. And as we said at the start of the show, there's plenty of blame to go around, and this closer thing does come back to a combination.
Yeah.
Right? It comes back to a combination of Chris Young and Ray Davis, or ownership in general, who have limited the budget to a certain extent. But it begs the question, Jeff, that you brought up: if with Andrew Friedman's money, right, and his freedom, would Chris Young pay $19 million for a closer like the Astros did for Josh Hader?
I hope so.
$15 million.
I hope so. If it's
right?
If it's unlimited, sure he does.
You think he would?
Unlimited?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you work within a budget and figure out where you can save money, and that's where you get all these 1-year guys. And now out of this here the last few weeks, I think we're seeing that Cole Winn has the potential to be a closer or a starter.
Yeah.
He's really
lowest
got
DRA
dialed
in
in
baseball.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. I look forward to seeing how what his role looks like going forward. There are going to be holes in the rotation next year. You hope that Kumar Rocker takes a step forward and is one of those starters to go with Leiter, DeGrom, Evaldi. But there's still one more spot, and maybe Merrill Kelly has a great time here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Merrill Kelly would be great. Kimbrel. Craig Kimbrel, he got the save last night in Round Rock, but he's still only throwing like 92. I think Craig's his arm might have had enough.
His halcyon days are behind him.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it just I think if the Rangers thought he could have helped him, they would have already brought him up weeks ago.
Yep. And that was Ryan who asked that question, if you were wondering. So we appreciate it. And he's the one that answers a lot of your questions in there, like about the Rangers being sixth in baseball.
Pop-up king.
Or was that you?
That wasn't me.
Yeah, that was Ryan. Good job, Ryan. Okay. That's why we're glad to have him. We're glad to have you, too. We'll keep chatting about it. And if you think you got it bad with Rangers ownership, it could be worse. That's next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, but I really want you to become a diehard. I really want you, like Jeff just put a story. Like he was sitting up there feverishly working when we were prepping and got down here and he goes, all right, published, got a story out there. Have you read it yet? Well, if you haven't, it might be because you're not a damn diehard. Just become one. Click that little QR code right there. And right now you can get the deal for $36. And then you'll also see it's a beautiful site. And you'll see all the content that is available there. The NBA schedule comes out today. So Tim Cato is going to break down all the ins and outs of the schedule. It appears that the league is all in on Cooper Flagg because they're giving. We've seen a few hints of what the schedule will look like, and they're giving the Mavs some prime time games, right? But Tim Cato's going to break it all down for you once that schedule is released. So things like that are available here. That's what we do. We do the same thing with the Stars and, of course, the Cowboys, who are doing all that. They just finished their last padded practice in Oxnard, I think, is today. So out they go, and here they come, and we've got Clarence Hill there writing about all that, too. So you need to become a diehard to get all that great content that is available on our website. QR code or DLLS, all DLLS/join, right? .com/join.
Yeah. That's correct. And you get the 20% off, like we talked about, and then we have you get a free shirt. John's wearing one. I'm wearing one. This is the Hello Win column of the big graphics on the back. John's wearing a.
This is the OG, man. That's the one I got free.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Anyway, store.allcitynetwork.com. All kinds of shirts like the Nolan Ryan, Robin Ventura shirt. That's awesome. We have some new ones. The Dallas collection. Go check that out as well.
Yeah. There they are. We appreciate you. We appreciate that. And by the way, Tanner was selling some of those shirts with the Nolan Ryan punch and Robin Ventura the other night because he modeled it at Globe Life Field. So
very nice.
Good on you, Tanner. All right, so I said it could be worse. Apparently, everybody in Minnesota thinks their ownership deal is one of the worst out there.
Yeah.
And look, and we get it. Now, remember, when Carl Pohlad bought the team in like 83 or 84, they weren't good. And then they won the World Series in 87, and they won it again in 91,
yeah.
right? So all of a sudden you're thinking, man, we've got a great owner.
All right.
And then Carl, the patriarch, is no longer with us. But, man, I don't know if he went crazy or what happened, but at one point he was ready to sell to a guy that was going to move them to North Carolina. And I believe that Major League Baseball kind of stepped in and said, no, we don't want a team there, no.
Yeah.
And then another time, he was willing to let Major League Baseball contract his team.
Right. I remember that.
God almighty. We're just going to not have a Minnesota Twins. Are you kidding me? So he went crazy. They've been trying to sell the team. They've been negotiating. They were apparently $425 million in debt, which is stunning to me when you've got a Major League Baseball team, which is a cash cow. But I do realize most of the money comes on the back end when you sell.
Right.
But anyway, through all this, the Pohlad family has kept control of the organization, and they got investors to help alleviate that $425 million debt. In other words, minority owners who bought in. And the debt's gone, and now the Pohlads own the team, or still own the team.
Yeah, and then in the little letter that they tweeted out, they're like, we're going to give the Twins fans the team they deserve, which means you need to spend money,
Right.
and they just don't do it.
And they just by the way, traded away.
They just traded away
bunch of great players.
10 players, 10 of the 26 players who were on the roster on Monday of the trade deadline week were traded. And it's pretty funny. We talked to Danny Coulomb about it in Minnesota. He's like, yeah, we kind of had a feeling it was going to happen when Chris Paddock got traded to the Tigers. And he's like, they were in Cleveland awaiting a series. And he's like, yeah, well, we were just all kind of sitting in the room. And then like one by one, we each got a call.
Wow. Wow.
It's pretty funny to listen to the story. And anyway, yeah, that's unfortunate because it's a team with a lot of tradition.
Yeah, some great history there.
Great teams, great players. Carew, Puckett,
Yeah.
Maurer, who just went to the Hall of Fame last year. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I'll just stop there. So
Kent Herbeck.
You hope that the Pohlads and that these minority owners start to infuse a little money into the payroll.
They need to. They need to very, very much. So we'll hope that they do, and I certainly hope that they keep. I mean, Minnesota, to me, that's one of the trips in the heart of summer. Man, Minnesota's a fun place to go.
Sure.
Right on the Mississippi.
Yeah, although I haven't been back since the pandemic, and I think that downtown Minneapolis is a little hairy.
Oh, is it getting worse?
It can get a little hairy down there.
I hate that. I hate that. But yeah, because you stay right downtown. The ballpark's right there. It's fun. A lot of good food there. So the triple play. And that was 2 days ago, right? That was the Tuesday night game.
Yeah.
But the triple play that the Angels pulled off was amazing in that Ohtani was hitting.
Right.
Runners at first and second. Ohtani's hitting, and Neto is playing kind of as far as you can get over behind second base.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
And line shot right to him. He catches it, steps on the bag, throws to first.
They tag him.
And they got him, and he's got a triple play. And he hit 2 home runs on Monday. And he was quoted as saying, it was a lot more exciting to complete a triple play than to hit 2 home runs, which is saying something.
Yeah, he's young, but that's pretty cool. I mean, triple plays are so rare. However, there haven't been a lot.
He
this
had
year.
never seen one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
and then the Angels went and swept the Dodgers.
Right.
The Dodgers aren't in first place anymore, and the Angels are drawn a little closer to the Rangers for third place.
Yeah.
And the Angels keep hanging around. They'll have good stretches and bad stretches, but that's good. That's the way Wash would want it if he was there. So good for them, I guess. I
think it's good for them as long as they don't. I mean, in this case, as long as they don't catch the Rangers. They're only a game and a half back, though. Right now, they're 59-62.
Yeah,
having won 3 in a row. The 3 against the Dodgers, and I just can't even imagine. Because the Dodgers just give them such a little brother complex.
Right.
It's like, oh, you guys are a cute little franchise down there in Orange County, and we're the Dodgers. But, pretty fun, I'm sure, to win that sort of subway.
The Rangers
series.
have 3 coming up against the Angels, I think, on the next homestand.
Yeah, that's right.
I believe that's the last Angels visit.
Yeah,
so there's something else to
It is.
look forward to.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I hope so. We'll hope. Yeah.
Have we blamed anybody lately, John?
No, we need to blame more people.
Okay, let's blame Marcus Semien and Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, we can definitely blame them.
Their seasons have been haven't been great. And then you saw when they were both going good there in June and into July, the difference it made for the team.
True.
And now they go on the All-Star break and lost all their mojo. Now Adolis is hurt. And Marcus is still batting third with an OPS below 500 in the second half. And so those are the 2 big guns they're counting on. And for the internal improvements, that's what you heard throughout the offseason and still here. So the best way we can help our offense is for our guys to help themselves.
Get
better. And those 2 guys have been not good.
Yeah. Jeff asked a great question of Bochy yesterday saying, how many guys can you bat 9th? Right? Only 1. Those 2 guys would both be candidates right now. I mean, again, Adolis is hurt, And somebody asked who's going to be sent down when Adolis returns. I don't even know at the moment because they also need to get Cody Freeman up here.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing with Adolis. You remember a few years ago, the Angels started this little trend where they released a bunch of guys to get out, get salary relief, and to get under the CBT. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers were to use that with Adolis.
Wow.
And hope that somebody out there who's a semi-contender
pick him up.
Could hope to catch lightning in a bottle, pick up the last $1.5 million on his contract. That wouldn't surprise me.
Well, is he getting 9 this year?
9.425, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one wouldn't surprise me at all.
Wow. But okay, so and it probably wouldn't be enough to get him under, right? Or would it?
No, but it could get him closer.
Closer, yeah.
But
okay.
You would like to get something for him by trading him in the off season, and maybe that's ultimately, that's probably more likely than my scenario. But
yeah,
because they do need to replenish the farm system.
Yeah,
and if you can get some prospects for Adolis, maybe a reliever, maybe you do that. But I just, and it was mentioned earlier, and we've mentioned it. I don't see him back. I don't see Jonah Heim back. So there are a couple changes that can be made there.
Yeah, big changes.
Rarities has asked a bunch of questions. He asked this yesterday, and we didn't get to it. He asked about Mark Church, who made the opening day roster this year and was expected to be a guy in the bullpen. He's been hurt basically ever since he got sent down. The Rangers sent him down. He had a shoulder deal. He came back for a little while, and now he's dealing with some elbow inflammation. He's in Arizona rehabbing. He was throwing bullpens, but I think that's been slowed down. So, unfortunately, a lost season for Mark Church. Not going to blame Mark. Too young to be blamed. He's not getting blamed.
No.
And then Rarities asked, are there any closers who are going to be available next year? And I think Edwin Diaz from the Mets can opt out of his deal. Now he's making $20 million.
Yeah.
So I don't, that's a pretty good guy.
Yeah, that's a fairly sure
but
thing.
That's a big one.
That it is. That's a huge.
That's a big price tag.
Yeah.
Kenley Jansen's going to be a free agent. The ageless wonder. He only signed a 1-year deal. Kirby Yates only signed a 1-year deal, and he's been kind of banged up. So look for 1-year guys. But you want somebody who's going to stay healthy. Kirby's going to be 39, I think.
Yeah.
You want to fart with that. So yes, there are always closers available. It just depends on. I think Devin Williams is going to be a free agent, from the Yankees.
Yeah, careful what you wish for.
Well,
I know.
I think there's just some guys who just can't get it done in New York.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. New York is such a pressure cooker. I think Devin Williams actually started with them on the road, though. But still, you put those pinstripes on, and it's New York, and even on the road, there's all this media around you. But yeah, Devin Williams has not fared very well. Who's the guy? Yeah, he said Kenley.
Yeah.
Kenley Jansen's a free agent next year too. Out of all those, again, money being no object, I want Diaz.
Right.
Right. I want Diaz. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's a tough one. Because like what you hope for, ideally, is what the Rangers have been pretty good at in spurts.
Mm-hmm.
Tali Feliz.
Right.
Jose Leclerc.
Yeah.
Right. These are guys they developed as closers, and it worked out well in both cases for a short period of time. Neither of them became that, Mariano Rivera type or Kenley Jansen type who just maintains closership forever.
Yeah. Ryan Helsley is going to be a free agent.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Kyle Finnegan, Luke Weaver, who was, the Yankees closer for the playoffs last year. Chapman,
Yeah.
is
He's
another
got like
one.
a 1 point something ERA this
And
year.
I think Iglesias, Racel Iglesias. So there will be guys.
Okay.
There will definitely be guys. I don't know about club options and stuff like that, but for sure there will be guys who the Rangers can take a stab at.
Very good. Well, that's going to do it for us for the week. We'll be keeping a close eye on these games, and we'll produce a little more content coming up here in the next couple of days. Watch for that on YouTube and on the socials. But we'll be back on Sunday, and we'll do a post-series wrap-up of this series with the Toronto Blue Jays. And you're sitting there wondering, will they be happy or will they be sad? Find out Sunday right here on the DLLS Rangers podcast. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.